On August 6, 1945, one of the most significant moments in human history occurred, with the dropping of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. This was followed 3 days later with another bomb being dropped on Nagasaki. These remain the only use of nuclear weapons for warfare in history. The destruction caused by the bomb that hit Hiroshima was utterly devastating. The city was flattened and anything built from timber burnt to the ground. Casualties were in excess of 100,000, and the impacts of the bomb shaped the final outcome of the war. During the journey to Hiroshima, I took the time to read up on a few of the facts. It was incredible to think that despite the overwhelming power of the blast, the weapon was considered to be very inefficient, with only a small amount of the nuclear fission occurring. If it had exploded to the extent that was possible, vastly more damage would have occurred. Today, this city has been rebuilt, with over 1 million people calling it home. But knowing full well the events of World War II, at first I found it a little haunting to walk the streets. And while it was all new and modern, there are constant reminders of what happened here over half a century ago. The rebuilding of Hiroshima was very sensitive to the past, and the designers of the urban development wanted to ensure that people who came here would look at the place and not just feel sympathy, but also hope for a peaceful future. I, for one, didn't know what I'd find. I half expected there to be monuments dotting the city and not nearly the amount of growth and progress here. But in true Japanese fashion, the people have come together to move forward and restore Hiroshima to a semblance of its former glory.
When I booked my ticket up for the cruise, I got a certain amount of free shore excursions, and they're fantastic, especially if you don't have a lot of time in port. You get to see a lot of things. There's a guide there and tells you a lot of information. This morning I do have some time, so I've jumped on the tram. It's only 150 yen and I'm heading into Hiroshima. The Savo, I will go and do a guided tour. This morning, doing everything on my own pace. Hey guys! And I get to see some locals.
Having a camera crew follow me everywhere always gets a few strange looks from locals. Sometimes I think they're looking at me in the mistaken belief that I am someone famous. Maybe one day I will be. Probably not. Like a lot of Japanese cities during World War II, Hiroshima was completely destroyed. The difference here is it took hundreds of bombers and thousands of bombs to devastate other cities, but in Hiroshima, all that was required was one plane and a single bomb to completely flatten the place. Apart from the massive loss of life, the destruction claimed many of the centuries-old historic sites found in the city. Today, all you really see are modern concrete and steel low-rise buildings with their glowing neon signs. Because of this, Hiroshima doesn't have that same old-world charm of other Japanese cities. It has a somber feel to it and isn't nearly as energetic and exciting as similar-sized urban areas. In saying that, it does make sense, but despite the somewhat subdued architecture and humble mood, there are a few very important and moving sites that you have to visit.
This is Genbaku Dome, or what we now call A-bomb Dome. It was here on the 6th of August 1945 at 8:15 a.m. that the Americans detonated an atomic bomb about 600 metres above us. This was ground zero. The city for surrounding kilometres was turned into ash, killing instantly an estimated 80,000 people. There are monuments around the world to wars. They could be a cemetery, a military installation, or even just a plaque in the field. But this would have to be one of the most unique reminders to the destructive capabilities of man, and one of the most significant moments in modern history. Now, it's a symbol of peace and the hope that future generations don't make the same mistakes.
The dome is found in the area known as Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park. Being located at the centre of the city, you would expect there to be the distracting noise of traffic, but the design means that it remains a quiet and spacious place. Within the park, there are many buildings and monuments that commemorate those who lost their lives at the time and also represents the people's prayers for peace. It's difficult to imagine that this triangle-shaped slice of land, bordered by two rivers, was once previously a busy commercial and residential downtown area. Today, the remains of the building, with the twisted and melted steel and dark, empty rooms, provides a stark reminder of what happened. It has a more tangible and human feel than a simple marble plaque that's got words etched into it. Looking at this structure that once stood proudly really is a powerful experience. The park draws hundreds of thousands of visitors each year. Many come in here out of intrigue to see how the city has recovered, while others do so to pay their respects to the countless lives lost. One of the most moving monuments is one dedicated to the children, and in particular, Sadako Sasaki, a young girl who died of leukemia caused by the radiation. Near the middle of the park is a concrete, saddle-shaped monument that covers a cenotaph holding the names of all the people killed by the bomb. This memorial was one of the first monuments built here and is designed with an arch shape to represent a shelter for the souls of the victims. It carries an epitaph that reads, "Let all the souls here rest in peace, for we shall not repeat the evil." One of the moments that best captured my experience walking through the Peace Memorial Park occurred right at the end. I sat pondering what it all meant, only to have that somber moment broken by the wonderful sight of a father and his boy, smiling, laughing and waving. It was just as powerful an image as anything I'd seen that morning, one of hope and happiness.
Running late as always.
One of these days, I really should get myself a watch.
But I'm not the last.
Leaving the park, I jumped on the tour bus and we made our way across the city to the ferry terminal for a 10-minute cruise across to Miyajima. You've probably never heard of this tiny island. Well, I certainly hadn't. But when I got there, I suddenly realised it was one of the most photographed spots in the country and almost as famous as Mount Fuji. It just goes to show, no matter how much you think you know about a place, there's always surprises to be found.